Well, good evening, everyone. Seeing that it is 6 o'clock, we will get started on this evening. And welcome. My name is Glenn Brand, and I have the pleasure and privilege to serve as the superintendent of the Wilmington Public Schools. And we thank those in the Wilmington community who are joining us this evening. I will bring attention to the fact that this is being recorded, again, through our tremendous partnership, and our thanks go to WCTV for their continuous support of our ongoing efforts as a school system to communicate with our community. It's my pleasure also to welcome tonight a number of representatives from our community, both within the school district as well as within the Wilmington Police Department, who are going to help in providing our community with an update on where we're at with this very important aspect of our planning around safety and security. Tonight's presentation is really primarily intended to focus on the ALICE Intruder Program, which we will get more to in just a few moments. But I'd like to suggest that it also really tonight is a part of our larger commitment as a school district, school system, and focusing on school safety and security and preparedness, as well as our commitment to ensuring and maintaining strong and collaborative relationships with members of the Wilmington Police Department. We are so fortunate to have such great and supportive folks as a member of that department who work with us closely really each and every day. And tonight is an example of that, and certainly by no means any exception. This is a part of our commitment around safety and security. And really tonight is an intention to provide an update for some of those that may be tuning in as members of the community for the first time in terms of their awareness and building their awareness around this ALICE program. And it's also perhaps a refresher for those that were or a part of the district some years ago when the town of Wilmington, in conjunction with the Wilmington School Department, first launched the ALICE program. And so with that, we will begin, and again, just bring attention to the fact that for those who have family or friends or neighbors who are not able to join live tonight, this will be recorded and also be available at a later date. The agenda for tonight's presentation includes the following: a brief update for those that are joining in with some insight around our ongoing planning for school safety across the school district. And then we'll move right into really the centerpiece of this information program tonight, and that is for school intruder training. We will spend really the bulk of the time talking about that tonight. All of those that are on this call, and many others who are or who have been a part of this training, recognize that when we're talking about planning for safety and security with a specific thought around planning for intruders in school buildings, that raises a lot of concern, anxiety, and apprehension. And we recognize that. And really, tonight is meant to hopefully try and address some of those questions or concerns or fears perhaps as well too. We will dive into a little bit deeper level the specific ALICE training, what ALICE is all about, and then just give you as members of the community a bit of an insight in terms of what is being planned in the very near future for student training. And we'll end tonight with frequently asked questions. On the note of questions, hopefully you have, if you're here tonight, you've got obviously the location for this meeting mailed to you, and there's also an opportunity for you to provide questions. We don't have the live chat version open tonight, but we have activated a Google form, if you will, that will allow you to submit questions, and thanks to members of the community that have done that already. Planning for school safety, as I mentioned at the outset, is indeed a centerpiece for the work that we do in schools. It always has been, or should have been, and it most certainly is the case currently. The reality is that each year schools perform really a variety of safety drills, and I think many of us can remember perhaps back to our own days of being in school with fire safety. We also do bus evacuation drills. Planning for intruders in schools has also become certainly more commonplace, almost to say the norm in terms of school safety and preparedness. And the fact is that we need to conduct these, and we'll get into a little bit more about this in just a few moments. As mentioned, I have a number of folks that are on this call tonight that will help walk through our community with regards to this information. I'm so pleased to say that this is just a small sample of the many who both with Wilmington Police and within the school department have been working very hard on this program, and it's and our refocus as a school community on it. But I'm pleased to be able to welcome tonight Ken Lord, who is with us. Ken is our Director of Information Technology and Digital Learning for the district. Aaron Dunham, who is also with us, our one of two Wilmington Public School Family Engagement Specialists. Jeremy Salerno, who is a high school teacher in Wilmington here. He's also serving as the co-chair on the district's safety committee. Jeanette Quirk, who's a principal at the Wilmington Middle School. And certainly last but not least, Officer Fiore and Officer Forbush, who served with the Wilmington Police Department, and along with a number of their colleagues who have been very active and partners with rolling out this program that we'll speak to tonight. So, there are certainly, to start, and I'll begin for the next few slides, there really are a number of aspects of planning for school safety that I firmly believe and want to share with our community that we as a school community are very much focused on, and I think any school community should be. We really, I mentioned at the outset, work hard and take pride in the partnerships that we have with the Wilmington Police Department. Again, tonight's program is an example of that. We have 2 school resource officers that are assigned to the district, thanks to the financial support of the town to make that possible and the commitment for the police department. But the fact is that anytime we need additional support from the members of the Wilmington Police, I know, and members of our staff know, that we have it. And that's a great and hopefully comforting thing for members of the community. We also have a number of different committees that are active and regularly meeting, and these include committees both at the local or school level, as well as the district level. We believe that planning for school safety and security and preventative measures is not a one and done type of situation, and therefore it is because of that we regularly meet. We review any issues or concerns at the local level or at the district level, and then take collectively steps to try and make improvements and address any of those issues. We also have a joint town school department meeting that has began last spring and continues this year. This is in the form of partnerships with town administrators, as well as representatives from the Wilmington Police Department, the Wilmington Fire Department, and the central administration of the school district. We have been meeting and will continue to meet to address and discuss issues, jointly pertaining to school safety. And certainly, as a school district, we are always taking a look at hardware and software programs that are out there to try and help aid in our readiness for and trying to prevent issues pertaining to school safety, security, and the like. The rationale for school, lost my slide here, Jeremy. I think that is that's you, correct?
Correct.
Thank you. So I'll turn it over to Jeremy. Jeremy.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Jeremy Salerno. I'm a chemistry teacher over at the high school. We just wanted to introduce the idea that there is a need for an unfortunate need for this training. And we understand from national partners and federal agencies that collect a lot of data that the gun violence is increasing. And so there is a need for this. Our goal is to produce a feeling of readiness to respond. And we talked about a scaffolding and a building of education amongst our faculty, our staff, and our students of how to respond to an emergency, and building some key skills and fundamental ideas in our students and our staff of how to respond to emergencies. We really want to improve everything around safety within our schools, from the equipment and the school resources and school programming, to just also developing awareness amongst our students of what's most important to them, and keeping them safe in every situation, inside school and out, and helping to intervene, prevent, and de-escalate those situations when we can. We understand that it's a difficult topic for many people, students, staff, and parents included. We understand that it's a very difficult topic. It is proactive work, and we understand that it can be overwhelming at times and concerning and upsetting to people. And we certainly are here to talk out any of those concerns and any of those feelings that people might have. And we're glad to have those conversations with everyone involved, the whole community. A little of the history. So out of the National Center for Education Statistics, which is a part of the U.S. Department of Education, they've done many studies, and they found that there were a total of 93 violent shootings within public and private elementary and secondary schools within 2021 school year. That's the highest number recorded in about 20 years since the 2000-2001 school year. So we are seeing those numbers increasing as well. Out of this U.S. Secret Service, who also provides data on this, we can see that the increasing incidents they require all parts and all parties to be involved in how we deal with it. So we have to look at it as a team event. We have to look for help from the community, which we love to see tonight of so many people being involved. But we also have to look to state, federal, and any resources we can to help design curriculum around this, as well as to help our students find ways to prevent this, as well as deal with it if it ever were to occur. There are various programs and approaches that we're going to use. Alice has been involved in we've used Alice within the district for many years. This seems like an opportune time with bring students back into the classroom to re-emphasize Alice and to help encourage students to think through Alice in ways that maybe they haven't. The Alice program itself was updated in the last few years to encourage this evacuation above all else. But Alice is a program that encourages students to make independent decisions within the guidance of the staff of what to do in an emergency.
Thanks, Jeremy.
Yeah.
Jeanette?
Okay. Sorry. So just to give you, hi, my name is Jeanette Quirk. I'm the principal at Wilmington Middle School. I'm here to give you an introduction to the Alice Intruder program. There are a variety of different programs, but the town of Wilmington still continues to select the Alice program as they had done a number of years ago. We continue to partner with the Wilmington Police Department and have participated in a number of train the trainer models. That was something that a variety of us that are on the screen tonight had done. And then we conducted training with our staff along with the police department to help so that we can make sure that everyone is completely trained. ALICE stands for, it's an acronym for Alert, Lockdown, Inform, Counter, and Evacuate. The ultimate goal of ALICE training is to teach everyone that to be aware of your surroundings and to make decisions based upon what is happening during these terrible circumstances, that of an armed intruder in a building, or really it also helps with a life skill of just being aware of your surroundings and making the decisions that you need to make in these unfortunate situations. What is ALICE? Just to reinforce that it is non-sequential, meaning that there's not set steps for anyone to complete, because we're supposed to be really reading the situation. It's meant to give those that are involved in those unfortunate, dangerous situations the best options for them to come out successfully, and is designed specifically that you are constantly evolving through the situation and evaluating and making the best decision.
Hi, I'm Ken Lord. I'm the Director of Technology. I'll be taking over the next few slides. Many of us on this call are certified ALICE trainers. We went through a few days of training with the ALICE Institute themselves, and we've been taking this training and imparting it to others in our staff. So as Dr. Brand and Dr. Quirk mentioned, ALICE stands for Alert, Inform, Evacuate, Lockdown, Counter. Those are acronyms, and they're not a sequential step. It's an options-based response. So as the person evolves and uses their situational awareness, they'll choose which of the options to use. So situational awareness is your perception of the environment around you and comprehending what the meaning behind that perception is. Being aware of your surroundings, knowing that if you hear a loud bang, not assuming that it's a light bulb or a transformer or something like that, that it could be a gunshot, and to react as quickly and appropriately as possible. And that's what a big part of ALICE training is situational awareness. That situational awareness is based on the information you receive, real-time information that you receive from other sources, and it trains us to not use code words. We don't want to say a code word to try to tell people what's going on. We'll be very accurate, clear, use clear language so everyone knows what's going on, using our PA phone systems, whatever we have at our disposal, and therefore allowing the occupants to decide, should I evacuate depending upon where the intruder may be? Should I lock down, or am I locking down now? And then as the situation evolves, evacuating at a later time. So one of the first options is evacuation. ALICE trains us that if we are able to evacuate, that is the best option for us. So we've given all of our staff, they have the absolute permission to do so, to evacuate if they feel it's the best thing to do based upon the information they have. They know to leave all their belongings behind, take a go bucket with them, and then once they're outside, to proceed to a rally point. And then once they're at that rally point, they'll take attendance and report to the police and other officials once they arrive if there's anyone missing, so we can take an accurate attendance.
Thanks, Ken. Move into the lockdown aspect, and Officer Forbush and Officer Fiore.
Hi, I'm Anthony Fiore, Wilmington Police Department. This is Dan Forbush. We'll be presenting the next few slides. Lockdown. When we go into a lockdown, it's when you actually can't get out of the building. As we've always said, the preferred response is to move along and get out of the building and get as far away from the situation as possible. But in some situations, you might not be able to get out, so you'll need to lock down. When you don't have the time or the opportunity to evacuate, you'll need to control the room that you're in. Controlling the room means you're using anything and everything in that room to make an advantage for you to buy time so that hopefully you can eventually get out of the room. By controlling the room, they'll be locking the doors if they're able. They're using anything and everything to pile up in front of the doors so that not only does it hopefully block the door from opening, but if an intruder does get through, it slows them down from advancing into the room. Once the door is controlled, we're having the students spread out and move away from the doors and windows so that if someone's looking in, and we don't want them to see anybody because that might cause them to actually want to enter the room. We try not to have everybody huddle in one corner. It just makes them sitting ducks. And everybody in the room needs to be prepared if the intruder comes in to distract or to swarm, just to make the intruder think about something else. This day and age, everybody has their cell phone, so hopefully someone will be able to call 911 to, again, give out more information to the police department that's responding, and also to get more information back into the building to those people that are in lockdown. The go buckets is something we're dealing with each classroom, and we're preparing those as we currently speak. So in this scenario, we want them to locate their go bucket, because if they're able to get out of the room or use the supplies that are in the go bucket to help secure their room. These are options. We're always looking for different options. So within the training, we go out to the schools and we work with the teachers and the students on how they can actually set up things to lock down their room. You'll notice in these slides, there's various different ways of being able to secure different doors. We have many different buildings in this town. some that are many years old and some that are brand new. And in each building, in each room, there's a different way to lock it down. The counter strategy. Counter strategy is when you have no other options. You have an intruder that's in upon you and you need to make a decision to do something. Your option to run away at this point probably isn't going to work. So you might have to engage with the intruder, and we call this the counter strategy. Counter strategy could be grabbing and controlling the intruder's arms and legs to prevent them from using a weapon appropriately, or even their own hands and legs. It also is a distraction for them. This is a personal decision that can be accomplished by many people. While we don't teach the counter to the younger grades, we do make the high school students note of it because they're a little bit larger, they're more adults, and this is something that they may be able to do. We also work with the staff on learning how to counter. If you can control their arms and legs and their head, well, then they really can't do anything to hurt you. This technique is, again, used by the high school students and the adults, not with the younger aged individuals.
Thanks, Anthony. Ms. Dunham.
Dunham, I'm one of the district's family engagement specialists. So we've reviewed why ALICE is an important program to implement and what the ALICE program entails. Next, we're going to talk about how the program will be implemented in the district. WPS staff were trained in ALICE procedures and drills on September 28th. Student education around the ALICE program will begin the week of October 3rd. And students will begin practicing drills in their building during the week of October 10th. So some frequently asked questions. Since parents and guardians are unable to participate in the ALICE drills, how are they able to learn about how the drills are conducted? It's strongly recommended that parents and guardians engage in age-appropriate conversations with their child or children following safety drills. Should a parent or guardian have a specific question, the question should be directed to the school principal. How will parents or guardians be notified if their child's school is experiencing a real emergency? In the case of a real emergency, notification will be sent out using all methods of school district communication, including a phone call from our call system, email, text messaging, website updates, media alerts, as well as social media. Families are always encouraged to check with the district's student information system, which is Aspen, to make sure that their contact information is updated and accurate. Student readiness for this information varies on age. How will this be communicated to students in an age-appropriate way? Wilmington Public Schools and the Wilmington Police Department want our children to be prepared for as many emergency situations as possible, including if an unsafe person enters one of our school buildings. Our staff and trainers will apply the various principles as part of the ALICE program and present them in a non-fearful yet empowering way. Should I talk with my child at home before the ALICE drills? While this is not a necessary step, it's strongly encouraged that you talk with your child in advance of the ALICE training. As a parent, you can certainly stress the importance of your child listening carefully to their teachers as well as staff in these crisis situations. If you're looking for more information about the ALICE program, the company Navigate 360 owns the rights to the ALICE program, and additional information can be found on their website.
Thanks so much, Erin, and thanks so much, everyone, for helping guide us through the presentation tonight. I know that undoubtedly there are many questions that folks have, and that's inevitable, that we know comes from our staff as well as our parents. I'm just going to go and take a moment here to check on any questions that have been submitted. I know, Ken, you're monitoring that as well. So a couple of questions that some of these are not necessarily specific to ALICE, but maybe more generally to school safety and security. One question we have here is regarding police officers on site at any of the schools. I commented on that at the beginning, and just to reiterate, we through the support of the town of Wilmington, have two dedicated school resource officers, or SROs as we refer to them as. And they help support our operations. They're housed predominantly or located predominantly at the middle and high school level, but certainly as or if there are needs in any of the other schools, they are engaged, or if they're not available, other members of the police are at our beck and call and moment's notice. And so again, it's just a great partnership that we have. And you would think that partnership would be alive and well in all towns and communities, but sadly, it's not always. But we are so fortunate here in Wilmington to be able to say just that. Another question that a member of the community put forth here is as follows. I do not wish my child to participate in the ALICE drill. Will parents be given notification in advance so that I might keep my child home that day? I'd love to turn that question over, because I know that may be one held by many, to members of our group here. And if anyone wanted to chime in on that. Again, the question, I do not wish my child to participate. How do we navigate or deal with that? And can someone who's here with us tonight to speak about the notification once we get to the point in which drills with students are going to roll out? And I'll throw that open to anyone.
Sure, I'll jump in. I do know the principals plan to communicate to their school communities what their plans are for the specific drills. They won't all be the same at every school. So there are different drill days and when they'll be doing those. We recognize that ALICE training and just discussion of this can induce trauma in different people. And that's part of the ALICE trainer training, is to make sure we're doing this in a trauma-informed manner, that we're monitoring and watching for students or adults that may be upset by this training. So if we do notice a student that's upset or having trouble, they'll be pulled aside and allowed to sit out the training and not actually go through it, to be able to watch as an observer. As a parent, you always have the option to keep your child at home at any time you'd like.
Thanks, Ken.
Yep.
Anyone else want to comment on that, or our approach to the training?
I was gonna.
Sorry, please, yeah.
So the parents, we're only planning on practicing the lockdowns and the evacuations, if that helps calm some of the parents' concerns. There's not going to be someone there that is dressed and looks like they're an assailant. It's going to be just a basic intruder, and the kids will either have to lock their classroom or evacuate at the guidance of their teacher.
Thank you for that.
One other thing I wanted to add in there as well, we also have age-appropriate materials that we utilize. There's a book that the younger grades use that's age-appropriate, that the teachers read and discuss. So they do have varying methods of giving that information to the students. Right,
that's great point. Thank you, Ken. I think was maybe just one final comment here. The one thing that one of our panelists mentioned earlier, is this program really, we believe, is around situational awareness. And while we are obviously focusing our discussion here and our planning around when children are in school and when our staff are in school, we also believe firmly that this is really so much sadly but true, a life skill in the sense of trying to cultivate in the young people that we serve an awareness of their environment, so that, gosh forbid, if they were to find themselves in another location in which some degree of threat was present, this training is transferable, and we believe that. And not only are we planning and preparing for trying to ensure the best we can for school safety, but also just safety in general in life, in public. And so I think that that's important also just to keep in mind for folks. The other two questions, we just had a couple tonight. The other two questions really center around door locks and lock security in that sense. And I'm really pleased to be able to say that with the partnership of the town, again, in our public buildings, we have been assessing the integrity, if you will, of our door locks throughout all of our schools. It starts with security on our exterior doors, the exterior or outer doors across the school system, and they are kept locked at all times. It should be locked at all times during the school day while school is in session. We have electronic card readers that allow access for staff at very few points. In fact, some of our schools have dozens and dozens of exterior doors, the larger ones. But in fact, we only have designated points of entry with an electronic card reader system for our staff that allows them into those designated doors. The interior of our schools have most doors have locks. Our classroom doors certainly have locks. And as I've mentioned, we've been working very hard with our public buildings to ensure that our door locks are functioning and that we are in a position such that any staff member in their work environment can lock that door in the event of an emergency should they need to. That really concludes all of the questions that folks from the community have added tonight. Any other final comments or thoughts that members of the panel might want to add or think would be important for our communities to know regarding our efforts around the ALICE program?
I think I would just add that this is all about preparedness and empowerment for our students and staff.
Thanks, Erin. Well, that is, there's no better way to, I think, wrap this up tonight. Again, for members of the community that are watching, and for those that you might know who perhaps are interested in this, we will, again, through the partnership, and thanks again to WCTV, make this recording available. There is lots of information that is out there on the ALICE Intruder program in general that certainly members of the community who might wish to know more are welcome to review. And we will continue to work in partnership with members of the Wilmington Police. And thank you to Officer Forbush and Fiore for being here tonight, and your colleagues who have been very active in partnering with our trainers, our ALICE trainers. All of those folks on this call joined us tonight are, along with many others throughout our school system. We thank you for joining us tonight. We will continue our efforts and our diligence at doing all that we can to have a school system that is prepared and ready to do everything we can on a daily basis to keep our students and our staff safe. Thanks again for joining us. Thanks to our panelists. Have a good evening. Good night.